In an abandoned warehouse in a small town in Colorado, Trevor is dancing with his girlfriend Nina, while his friend Kyle shares some kisses with his fling of the day. Suddenly Kyle coughs some blood, but his girl keeps kissing him anyway. Trevor and Nina are disgusted by this and go to another room, where something is running in the shadows. Meanwhile, the town wakes up to discover the state has sent military forces to organize a 24-hour-long quarantine. The roads are blocked so nobody is allowed to leave or enter the town. Soon a traffic jam takes over the road and people start to complain about the situation, even arguing with the soldiers because no explanation has been given. A couple in particular are desperate to leave because they want to take their sick son to a hospital in the city. Corporal Sarah convinces them to take the boy to the hospital in town because the army has brought specialists who are already checking on sick people. Then she asks Captain Rhodes if the specialist's story is true, but Rhodes reminds her to shut up and follow orders. At the radio station, a soldier keeps an eye on DJ Paul to make sure he passes on the necessary information to the public. Back at the warehouse, Trevor is startled by something in the shadows, but it's just Nina. As he announces it's time to leave, Kyle's nose starts to bleed. He still asks his girl to go home with him, but she's worried he may be sick and leaves on her own. While Kyle leaves in Trevor's car, his fling crosses the forest, where she suddenly hears some roaring. She tries to run away as the mysterious creature chases after her, but sadly she trips and rolls on the ground until she falls in the water. At that moment the creature finds her and drags her away to eat her. Moments later a group of privates arrives at the roadblock and Salazar tries to tease Sarah, who responds by putting him to work. Then she takes Crane to town with her to visit her childhood home. Inside she finds her brother Trevor and Nina doing it on the couch and scolds them for not picking up her calls. Neither of them knows about the quarantine, which makes Sarah angrier since her mother needs constant care. Sarah rushes upstairs and checks on her mom Francine, who isn't feeling well. She claims it's just a cold, but Sarah announces she's taking her to the hospital anyway. Downstairs, Nina realizes she has lots of messages from her dad too. Sarah comes back and Trevor explains Francine has been feeling ill since early in the morning. Nina tells her about Kyle's symptoms and Trevor wants to check on him, but Sarah tells her to stay home with their mom while she does the checking. Night has fallen by the time Sarah and Crane make it to Kyle's house and they're surprised to find the door open. The rooms are covered in blood, so the soldiers carefully search the building, but Kyle is nowhere to be seen. When Crane stands against the curtains, two bodies suddenly fall on top of him. It's Kyle's parents, who have been mauled. Sarah tries to call the cops but the phone isn't working, so on her way out she uses the military radio to call her captain. Rhodes explains they've blocked all phone lines until they control the situation because there are too many rumors going around and promises to send the police to Kyle's house. Afterward Sarah picks up Francine, Trevor, and Nina to go to the hospital. During the ride, Francine's nose starts bleeding. When they finally make it to the hospital, the place is packed with patients experiencing the same symptoms and the nurse tells Sarah to wait in line like everyone else. Nina's father is in this hospital too, so she and Trevor visit him. At that moment Sarah notices Salazar and other soldiers guarding the hospital, which makes her realize this is serious and not just a routine exercise like they were told. Then Rhodes brings Sarah to meet Dr. Logan from the CDC. Logan asks if Kyle's parents had bite marks and she says yes, but she doesn't think it was an animal because it couldn't have hidden the bodies behind the curtains. In the waiting room, Crane notices that Francine and many other patients are freezing, so he goes to tell Sarah and Logan. At the same time Nina's father goes through the same thing. A virus moves very quickly inside his body until the man transforms into a zombie and jumps off the bed to attack his own wife, biting her face off. Meanwhile at the power plant, a worker is suddenly jumped on by two zombies, who push her against the fence to devour her. The shaking of the fence plus the falling blood causes a short circuit that lights both zombies on fire. As the plant's machinery starts failing, the town's lights begin to malfunction too. There are some zombies driving around and soon their cars crash in the middle of the street, sending a body flying. At Kyle's home, 3 cops are searching the rooms and find a third body between the dead couple. It's Kyle himself, who has become a zombie and now jumps on the cops to try to kill them all, not caring about their guns. At the radio station, Paul and his guard soldier hear all the screaming and look out the window to discover the zombies dragging humans away to feed. The soldier runs outside to help the civilians, only for a bunch of zombies to ambush him and take him away to eat him too. Paul sees another zombie coming after him, so he rushes back into the radio station and locks the door. In the hospital, the backup generators bring the power back just in time for the frozen people to become zombies too. They all go crazy and start attacking any normal human they can reach. Trevor and Nina run out of her father's room and watch in shock how a zombie walks on the ceiling to then jump on a nurse. Some zombies see them and come after them, so the couple begins running away and tosses any object they can find to slow the creatures down. They make it through the back door and block it with a trash container, but there are other zombies already outside, so the couple runs to escape by jumping over the fence. Inside, the chaos and massacre are getting worse as blood is spilled all over the place. Almost no humans are left and there are too many zombies to fight at the same time, so Rhodes runs into an empty corridor and blocks the door to keep the zombies out. Sarah finds him and asks about her mother, but there's no chance of finding her now. Then Rhodes opens another door to find an exit, only for a bunch of zombies to come out. He manages to push a few off, but soon there are too many creatures to handle and Rhodes is captured to be devoured. Seeing this, Sarah, Logan, and Crane run to another corridor to find an empty room to hide in. Logan pushes Crane to go first, causing him to drop the car keys. A zombie notices Crane on the floor and tries to attack him, but Sarah drags him into the room just in time and locks the door. A furious Crane pushes Logan for what he did, yet Logan pretends he doesn't know what Crane means. After Sarah and Crane push some furniture in front of the door, the group looks out the window and notices the zombies have taken over the parking lot too. Since Crane doesn't have a gun and Sarah's isn't loaded, she says they should make Molotov bombs to distract the zombies and escape in a car. Since Crane lost Sarah's car keys, she decides they should find Rhodes' keys to escape in his car instead. Meanwhile, Travis and Nina are running through the forest, where they encounter dozens of dead bodies on the ground. A body even tries snapping at them, only to fall dead again. Eventually the couple makes it downtown and they find a massacre here as well. However, they notice someone sane inside the radio station, so they wait until the main street is clear to run to the station's front door. They start pounding on it and the noise gets the attention of a zombie, who begins running toward them. Thankfully Paul opens the door and lets them in before the zombie can reach them. Then Paul takes them to the main room where they find the couple from the beginning, who reveals their son is dead. At that moment the wife starts coughing, but she swears it's a cold she caught before it all began. Paul coughs as well, yet Nina doesn't know if trusting them. Trevor rushes to the radio equipment to send out a message with their location and warn people not to go to the hospital. This message is played by a car radio and heard by Francine, who is also a zombie now. Back to Sarah and Craig, they climb into the vents and move as fast as possible to avoid the zombies trying to reach them through the grills. They eventually find the room with Rhodes' body, so Sarah jumps down, only to be attacked by someone coming out of the cabinet. She quickly defends herself and discovers it's just Salazar, who hid in the cabinet before everyone went crazy. They take the car keys and get back in the vents, unaware that Rhodes is waking up as a zombie and eating his own eye. Then he grabs Sarah and uses her as a counterweight to get into the vent since he doesn't have legs. Sarah kicks his face to force him to let go and begins moving faster. In another room, the zombies hit the vents with mops and other tools until they manage to break it, causing Sarah's legs to fall through the hole. Those creatures keep trying to grab her feet and Rhodes is coming closer, however Salazar comes back for Sarah and pulls her out of the hole just in time. They rush back into the room with Logan and when Crane tries to close the vent, Rhodes appears and bites his hand. Sarah immediately grabs some bleach and pours it on the wound, hoping to disinfect it. A wary Salazar takes out his gun and gets ready to shoot, but Sarah protects Crane and Logan points out the bleach has a chance to work. Rhodes keeps making noises in the vent and Salazar shoots him to finally kill him. When Sarah promises she'll kill Crane if he turns, Salazar finally puts down his gun. Afterward the group makes some weapons with whatever they can find in the room and Sarah takes one of Salazar's guns. Crane breaks the window with a chair and they jump out to finally leave the hospital. A zombie immediately appears yet Sarah's shots do nothing, so Salazar has to teach her that only a shot to the head will kill a zombie. There are more enemies incoming and the soldiers work together to fight them all while Logan only stares. The tools they made turn out to be pretty good and soon all the zombies surrounding them go down. Unfortunately the zombies inside the hospital start jumping through the windows as well. The soldiers keep on fighting, killing their enemies by smashing their heads or just outright decapitating them. While everyone is distracted, Logan reveals he has his own car and runs toward it. A woman tries asking for his help, however he just pushes her toward a zombie to keep it at bay before getting into the car and driving off. The others notice this and curse Logan's name, but there's no time to complain because more zombies are coming. Hiding behind a car, they light a bunch of Molotov bombs and throw them at the zombies, creating a big fire that slowly burns the creatures to death. Then they run to Rhodes' car and have to kill a few zombies that avoided the flames before getting into the vehicle. More creatures show up and try to hold on to the car, so Sarah drives quickly to make them fall off. The group finally leaves the hospital and as they drive through town, they see death and destruction everywhere. Eventually they find a gun store, so Sarah ties Crane up in the car just in case before entering the shop with Salazar. Unfortunately Crane starts bleeding and by the time the others come back with a bunch of weapons, he's already a zombie. Salazar wants to kill him but Sarah convinces him not to do it because Crane is harmless and already restrained. Then they drive away before zombies get too close. At the radio station, a zombie is trying to get inside using the emergency ladder, but Trevor throws a TV on his head to kill him. When he goes back inside, Nina shows him that the tissues in the garbage can have blood. She grabs a knife and threatens the adults to make them confess who is bleeding, however they keep blaming each other instead. Suddenly Paul freezes and begins transforming into a zombie, so a panicking Nina stabs his head to kill him. Trevor uses the radio again to send a new message through. The soldiers are about to leave town but when Sarah hears her brother's voice she turns the car around, running over every zombie to avoid losing time. At the station, Trevor looks out the window and sees Francine, so he runs out to meet her and ignores Nina's warnings. Francine is too far gone and tries to attack her son but Sarah arrives and runs her over with the car. A crying Trevor can't believe she did that, and Sarah has to remind him that wasn't their mother anymore. Meanwhile, Nina runs upstairs to tell the old couple that they're leaving, only to find the room mysteriously empty. When she looks behind the couch, she finds the husband dead. The zombified wife appears behind her and tackles her to the ground, so Nina has to start fighting her using any object she can find in the room and even breaking the furniture. At that moment, Trevor comes in and they start fighting her together with excellent teamwork. Outside, Salazar notices some survivors stuck behind a gate. They start climbing it to reach the soldiers, but zombies appear behind them and devour them. At that moment, Trevor and Nina push the monstrous wife through the window, and as soon as she lands, Salazar and Sarah shoot her to death. The shooting scares the zombies behind the gate, and now the group can leave in the car. During the ride, Salazar wonders why Crane won't attack them, and Sarah remembers Crane's vegetarian. Salazar still keeps on mocking and threatening Crane, clearly not trusting him. When they finally make it to the roadblock, they discover that the rest of the soldiers have also become zombies. One of them tries to reach inside the car, so Trevor comes out and shoots him. Salazar and Sarah join him and they kill as many zombies as possible with their guns, but they just won't stop coming. They have no choice but to get in the car and drive back. They don't know where else to go, so Trevor tells them about the abandoned warehouse. Sarah takes the car through the woods and they notice Kyle running among the trees. He jumps ahead and breaks the car's front window, causing it to lose control. As they struggle to keep Kyle's mouth away from their bodies, the car keeps going and crashes against a tree. Now Kyle is stuck between the wood and the broken glass, so Sarah can easily shoot him in the head. Afterward, the group keeps moving on foot and brings Crane along. Salazar never stops threatening him or insulting him, so by the time they make it to the warehouse, Crane is done. He starts shouting to give away their location, and soon a bunch of zombies break the door and the walls to attack them. The humans open fire, but there are too many enemies to deal with, so Trevor tells his friends to follow him. While the group goes downstairs to the basement, the zombies aggressively surround Crane. The basement turns out to be an actual isolated bunker. A few zombies try to follow the group, but they fire at them until they cross the thick metal door and lock it. Then they open a door at the back and are shocked to find a full research facility. They check the computers for answers, but whoever was here deleted everything before running away. Suddenly they hear a noise, so Sarah and Salazar start searching every room until they find Logan, who has been destroying the evidence. The duo threatens to shoot him until Logan explains he was part of Project Wildfire, which researched biochemical agents. He swears the project isn't behind the zombie virus, but he's interrupted by Trevor, who has found a video file in the computer. The recording shows a scientist admitting that the virus they created to attack foreign troops has mutated and lost control, so he had to kill all his infected colleagues. The video ends when the doctor transforms into a zombie too and destroys the camera. Hearing a roar nearby, the group leaves the office and finds the zombified doctor, so they start shooting him until he gets too scared and runs away. Salazar and Sarah go after him, only to discover he's escaped by crawling through the vents. A different zombie tries attacking Salazar, but he quickly decapitates her. The duo then goes back to the others, shooting at the vents whenever they hear a noise. Logan has no idea where the emergency exits are, but Salazar recognizes this bunker as a model from the war and says they only need to find the missile silos to escape. As the team walks through the corridors, the doctor reaches from above and kidnaps Logan. He quickly kills him and then throws the body in front of the others. The group hurries up, but after wandering for a while they still can't find the silo. Despite Salazar's protests, they decide to split to cover more ground. Sarah and Salazar end up finding the silo first and they go through the first door without issues. However, after crossing the corridor they find tons of zombies hiding in the next room. Both soldiers open fire, but the zombies surround Salazar and knock him to the ground. He tells Sarah to go on without him before the creatures begin eating him. Sarah quickly runs away and Trevor drags her into another safe room. There she finds a bunch of missile propulsion tanks, so the siblings work together to make some big fire throwers. Then Sarah returns to the corridor to get the Horde's attention, only for the doctor to appear behind her. As she struggles against her attacker, Crane reveals himself in the Horde and remembers his feelings for Sarah, so he starts firing his gun until he runs out of bullets. Angry about this betrayal, the doctor lets go of Sarah and runs to decapitate Crane. Sarah shoots a random zombie to get everyone's attention before running down the corridor again. The creatures run after her, but when they reach the door, Trevor and Nina activate the tanks. The result is giant flames that instantly burn the zombies down and reach every corner of the facility, not leaving a single monster standing. Afterward, the trio climbs out of the silo and finds Logan's car. As they drive away, they hear on the radio that the virus has been fully contained. However, on the road a zombie is on the loose. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.